Management firm Van Eck filing with the SEC for a new Bitcoin ETF. Remember, they withdrew a filing back in January after pulling plans for a similar ETF back in September. Yesterday, SEC Chairman Jay Clayton spoke exclusively with our Bob Pisani on this show, who asked about the regulatory hurdles that the commission has in place for Bitcoin ETFs. Listen.
Those hurdles are the hurdles that we think a Main Street investor expects if they're going to invest in a product. You know, I understand that there's a great deal of discussion about these crypto assets, but again, we're not going to relax our rules based on the level of discussion. We need to know that the pricing is certain. We need to know that the assets are there. We need to know that it's going to function as our retail investors would expect those products to function.
Joining us now at Post 9 is Jan Van Eck, the CEO at Van Eck, and Bob Pisani is back here at Post 9 as well. So, Jan, twice you shelved plans because of concerns about SEC approval. What's different this time that you think it's going to go through?
Well, we're going to keep knocking at the door until it let us through, so persistence is the game here. But I would say this is a very different filing than our other filings. The other filing were on Bitcoin futures, which came out in December of last year, and this one is actually kind of, they call it on Bitcoin physical itself, sort of like GLD. So the trust would own Bitcoin, not a derivative of Bitcoin.
And what, with your conversations with the SEC, do they seem like they're going to be okay with that? What was the concern with futures versus the actual asset?
Well, there's investor concerns and regulatory concerns. So let's talk about investor concerns first. When you invest in a derivative, the shape of the futures curve can affect the price. Like oil futures is different than oil, and that's, I think, can be misleading to investors over time, and we've seen that historically. In terms of the SEC's expectations, what they care about is what's the right price of Bitcoin, and how do you know that the fund isn't going to lose Bitcoin? And the answers here are pretty different than some of the other answers. So to keep talking, number one, the price. One of the big changes in the market is if you want to trade 10 or 20 or $30 million of Bitcoin these days, you can do it. And there's an over-the-counter market for that, and hedge funds are trading it every day. It's not visible on Yahoo Finance, and it's not visible on Coinbase. We are bringing that visibility to the market in the index that this new ETF will track. So that's number one. Secondly, how do you know that you don't lose the Bitcoin? The SolidX people had arranged for insurance over the loss of the private key, which is kind of the best you get these days in terms of custody. So hopefully it'll be met with a little bit better reception.
So the SEC released a long letter, I think back in January, where they basically...
So this is some really good news, and maybe it's third time is a charm, but if you were listening to the interview, they've obviously tried to set up their own Bitcoin or cryptocurrency ETF 2 times, and has failed. And if this all goes well and they're able to set up a third, on their third attempt, they're able to set up this ETF where institutional money can finally invest in cryptos, I do see us finally getting out of this flat market. And like I've been repeating on this channel multiple times, I do see that we can easily see cryptocurrency prices triple, if not double, once this is actually properly set up and money can now properly enter the cryptocurrency market, institutional money. But let me know what you guys think about this. This is some really good news if they're able to pass the hurdles with the SEC, and I do see this happening by the end of the year, and that's why I am very optimistic long term. Short term, like I said, there could be another scare or something from the media, and maybe another price dip, a great buying opportunity, but long term it's looking really good for cryptos. Let me know what you guys think, and I will talk to you soon.